Hello everyone and welcome to 2S Tier 2. Today we are at Spa and I am joined by Vito in the commentary booth. Hello Vito.
Good evening. Good evening, good evening.
Alright, so I promised Vito I was going to do this before the stream, but I'm quite thirsty, so I'm going to quickly crack open a cold one for everyone. Nice little bit of a can ASMR and pour that drink. Let me know what you guys are drinking in the chats, because it's nice to keep refreshed during the race, and I'm sure it's going to be a great one coming up for us.
See, on Discord I could barely hear that.
Yeah, I mean, that's because I have Crisp enabled on Discord, so that's probably why. But anyways, the stream, I can guarantee we'll hear that. So, right now we're on board with, well, not on board, we're riding with Lavi Fasol, the first driver to go out on track. He is currently only 3 points behind Owen in the standings, so that is the standings for P2 on in total, by the way. So Owen and Lavi Fasol probably gonna have a pretty good race today to see who gets ahead. Alexander does not seem to be with us today, so either of these two drivers could pick up a lot of points to try and catch up to him in the standings today. Owen is 37.5 points behind Alexander, but that could very much change today if Owen has a good race, and so as well if Lavi Fasol has a good race.
Yes, indeed. This is about, I would say, the middle of the season, so this is where it's gonna start getting closer in terms of the championship for most drivers. Seeing as Spa is kind of the race after the IRL summer break, let's say. We'll start getting to the end of the season very shortly. I think, how much races there left? Let me actually fact check that. Should be maybe 8?
Yeah, this seems to be...
Let's see here.
I think Spa is just a little bit over
no,
halfway.
there's way more, so 13.
Oh, okay.
There's 13 races left. We're not even... Italy would be race 11, which is half.
Yeah, so...
I forgot we got 3 more tracks added, of course. Because we got Imola, Portimao, and Jeddah being added into the game.
Yeah, Jeddah being added, was it yesterday, I believe it was? And
I think today... No, yesterday.
Yeah, so... Jeddah, a new track. It looks to be quite an interesting high-speed track. Drivers saying they quite enjoy hot lapping it, but I'm not so sure. We have to wait and see how racing is on it. A bit like with Vietnam last year. Some people enjoyed doing the hot laps, but the racing wasn't as good. But anyways, I'm sure these Tier 2 drivers will always put on a good show, as they do. We currently have Larry Fasol on his second sector now at Spa, coming up to Blanchimont very soon, which is one of the final flat-out corners until he hits the bus stop chicane. Then he will be able to complete his lap time. What sort of lap times are you expecting today, Vito?
I'm definitely expecting some 42s. Presumably that would be a pole. I doubt for a 41, but maybe a cheeky 42 would be a good time for all these drivers. It's definitely what would be the standard here, I think. As Levi Fastley just goes over the line with a banker of a 43.6. So about halfway in the 43s. So I would think on a proper push lap towards the end of quali, a 42 is very possible for these drivers.
Yeah, the conditions still need to get a little bit better, and I see Owen here on the medium tires trying to set a lap time. He does a 1:44.5, so nearly a full second off of what Lavi Fasol has done, but he was a little bit squirrely on the exit there, so I'm pretty sure he will be able to improve that lap time on the same set of tires. Anyways, as you said, a cheeky 42 is definitely possible, it seems. Only about 6/10 until we hit that mark, and I'm pretty sure some of the faster drivers will be able to get there at the end of the session. And as we're saying that, Joel pops it into provisional P1 with a 1:43, basically 5.
I'm spectating through a lot of the drivers. And
I just caught onto Leonidas spinning into the wall, crashing off his front wing there. So he's completely ruined the boards and
again
trying to get the car under control. That McLaren a bit difficult to drive without a front wing. But you see these drivers pushing very hard on these on their out laps and hot laps as well to try and get heat into those tires and optimize their track grip to get the best lap time they possibly can. But that is not the way to do it. So he's going to have to come back into the pit lane, throw on a new front wing, and hopefully try again.
My game just crashed.
Oh. That's going to be an issue.
Interesting indeed.
The server still seems to be up and running, so Vito is the one hosting the server. Migrating host. There it is.
But it should be fine.
Do I have to send you an invite?
I don't think so.
Okay. So apologies for any technical difficulties. It is Codemasters after all. We can't always rely on them to be strong, per se. So we've had to do restarts before. If it comes down to it, we will do one. But so far, it looks like it's going to be okay. Let's jump on board with Merlin Thunders to see. Okay, that apparently is not. That's not. There it is. What? Okay, I go on board to Merlin and it shows his rear wing. Interesting. Alright. I guess I can't change that. But yeah, let's go back to see what he is doing. So here it is, coming into the last few corners, and he decides to go into the pit lane, so he's aborting his lap. Interesting camera angles today from the track, and wait, something's not right. I clicked to go onto futuristic and it's showing me Merlin. Let's go for Danny. Oh, just as I said, let's go for Danny. Kyoto puts it into P1 with a 142.9, so we are into the 42s now. Are we going to see people go into the mid 42s? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see a little bit longer. Still 10 minutes left of quali. So I think the track is improving, and the drivers as well will be getting more and more confident with the conditions and the cars around this track. So a mid 42 I think is definitely possible. I don't currently see anyone on a hot lap right now that is able to go into that time, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Neo Dio on his medium tires. He seems to be doing a bit of a longer stint. He's already 2/10 up in the second sector. Keep in mind he did do a 146.1, so he is about a second off of the second fastest driver, sorry, second slowest driver on the grid at the moment, but he is on medium tires and they are almost 3 laps old. So keep that in mind as he comes into the bus stop chicane. Seems to be pretty smooth through here, gets on the power nice and early, but doesn't short shift, which quite a lot of these faster drivers decide to do. DRS towards the line, a 145.5, still 6/10 off the guy ahead of him, but he is on 3 lap old mediums and he is getting more confidence, so I do believe we'll be able to see a good result from him. And I think X Crystals, I was thinking it was one of the McLarens that had an incident somewhere, and X Crystals is the driver who's going in the wrong direction. Oh, that is.
See, I didn't actually know where he was. I thought he was in Blanchimont, and then I looked at the map and I saw he was in Pouen. So Crystal's disqualified from the session. His car is
still on track.
His car was doing a burnout, and now it's just jumping back and forth, and it's gone.
There you go.
So we are clear again.
Why?
Let's hope I won't have another game crash.
Yeah, hopefully. Have you managed to join back in the session?
Yeah, I'm back in.
Okay. So it seems to be okay for now. Janoka on hot lap as well. Seems to have set a personal best in Sector 2. It says it was purple, but sometimes it shows purple even though it's a personal best, so we'll go personal best for now. As he comes up to the bus stop chicane, is he able to put this car into the top 5? It looks like he might be able to. If he gets a good exit, he could potentially get a 143, but he seems a bit slow on the exit there. Lost him a little bit of speed, and he crosses the line with a 144.1, so that puts him just outside the top 5. But there's definitely potential to improve a little bit there. There's as he goes deep into turn 1, and seems to abort his lap to let people behind him through.
Yes, he does, and there is a yellow flag. Oh, that was just an Alfa Romeo of Snelle Henke letting Janoka by.
Yeah.
And I think that's Neo Dio.
I think Neo Dio's
because I think he ran out of fuel.
It looks like he's run out of fuel or something. I was wondering what the yellow flags were. As the Ferrari was still driving, it does sound like his engine is struggling to get some fuel into it. I don't know what the rules are about that, running out of fuel on track. But it looks like he is slowly but surely getting his way back, and as long as he doesn't get in anyone's way, there should be no issues with that. So let's go and have a look at what Joel is doing. P3 currently in that Williams machine. A solid effort so far.
Standing still on track. Alright, he's going again. He was standing still in Lecombe, and I was thinking that something maybe happened on the technical side. But I think he was just letting cars go.
Yeah, it's, sometimes you see quite a lot of yellow flags happen in these quali sessions, and then it is because of just letting cars pass. So it's not always that crazy what's happening. Joel sets a purple sector 2. Again, that could be a personal best, that could be a server best. We don't know just yet, but it seems to be a very promising lap coming out here from Joel as he comes into the final few corners now through Blanchimont. And then he gets to the bus stop chicane, hard on the brakes, down into, I believe, his second gear, gets his way through, short shift into 1, then second, third, fourth, DRS open, what's it going to be, crosses the line, he does improve on his lap time, but it's still a 1:43.2, so not quite enough to get into that provisional pole position, but it's a solid effort indeed.
And I think that's the Red Bulls giving each other a tow. I think that's Owen giving Danny a tow through the main straight of, I believe this is called Camel Straight. And Danny, because of the stream, went deep, lost a lot of time there. So the slipstream did work, but it may have worked a bit too well and caused Danny to miss his braking point.
Yeah, that is sometimes an issue with these slipstreams trying to happen in qualifying. The drivers are not used to it, so they brake at the same points, but because you're going about 5 to 10 kilometers an hour quicker, your car obviously would take longer to slow it down as he spins into Pouon. Massive spin there. It looks like he sort of just clipped the curb under braking and around the car goes. So Danny will have to abort this lap and come back into the pit lane as those tires will already be a bit too worn to do a second lap, but who knows, he might, with 5 minutes left to do, might as well just try and qualify. On these tires he spins again, Danny's really struggling, into the wall he goes. That might be damage and he could be out of this session if it continues like this, but it looks like he has survived for now. Danny really struggling in this tire set, not quite sure what's happening here, but he's having a bit of a hard time at his job today. Grenade Goran, in the meantime, puts his way into provisional P1 with a 1:42.6. So I did say that we could be seeing some mid-42s come the end of quali, and there it is. There is a mid-42 from Grenade Goran.
And I think that was Neo Dio who spun in just before No Name. It doesn't look like he has any damage, but he definitely was off track. So that might cost him a little bit on the tire side, but at least there's no physical damage to anything on the car.
Yeah, and that's sometimes what happens when you're pushing hard. Snelle Henke, in the meantime, goes up to P4 with a 1:43.2. Very solid lap time for Snelle Henke, just behind Joel. He will be able to have one more run, because he does have 4 minutes left, but it depends how quickly he manages to do his in-lap. I have to keep in mind this is not ACC, as an ACC lap is around 2 minutes 16 if you're really quick, and I had to always tell myself, oh no, these drivers, they can get around the track in under 2 minutes, because I'm so used to ACC. Speaking of ACC, I'm going to do the weekly ACC plug. Every Monday we race ACC. We currently are in the mid-season, well, in between seasons, as the race finished the season finished yesterday for season 8, what am I saying? Season 8, and there was a brilliant battle between Chris Witkowski and George Brabner. All the way to the end. It ended up being George Brabner taking back-to-back championships in ACC. So if you're interested in joining in Season 9, have a look in the Discord in the description and look at the info channels. There will be some new information coming up after this race about when Season 9 will start, so stay tuned for that and be ready to build up the hype. I'm just reading the chat and seeing Dragon's in the chat. Hello Dragon, and hello Biggles as well. Shame you're not here today, but of course you had to take a break from commentating. That is necessary sometimes. We don't want everyone to get burned out, so it's nice to see you join anyways. Hope you're doing well, Biggles, and enjoying your week off.
Yes, indeed, and I think we will get another cheeky slipstream here from the Alfa Romeos. I think that's futuristic, grabbing a tow from Snelle Henke into Blanchimont. Now this tow could be even more powerful than the Camel Straight one, because of course there's no DRS, so here it could be more beneficial. And I believe when I was spectating other drivers before, Futuristic got a 4 kph advantage, which might not seem a lot, but it could be easily like half a tenth, maybe even a tenth. Jumping up to P6, improving by 6/10, so that was a big improvement.
Yep.
But not enough to get him on pole, fortunately.
No, but the two Alfa Romeos working really well together there to try and catch up to the Red Bulls and Williams, who are the two teams up ahead of them in the championship. They have about 28 points between them, the Alfa Romeos and the Red Bulls, and this could be the race where they catch up, as Danny seems to be struggling quite a lot, and Owen is still there in P5, and that is right in an Alfa Romeo sandwich. So that could definitely be beneficial for these drivers if they manage to pull themselves, both of them, into higher positions with the slipstream, as we've seen. I have a bit of a spectator, so I'm going to jump off of this car. That is a bit of a horrible sound to listen to. Janoka has invalidated his lap time, so let's try and have a look at Ioannidis. He seems to be on a decent lap for now. Well, actually, he's just starting his lap. DRS down the Camel Straight into the S's up here. Seems to be gliding nice and easily through. Decent hot lap so far. He is currently in P8, so let's see if he's able to improve.
A little bit of a wide line through that corner. I forgot the name. Now into no name. Keeps it on the track. A little bit of a wiggle on the exit, but keeps it within track limits. Now into Puon. One of the fastest, if not the fastest corner of the straight. Keeps it within track limits. Now that's really on the edge there. Into the flick flag chicane.
Pushing as hard as he can and trying to maximize the exits is what you need to do in these cars, but he seems to be doing it very well so far. He's coming up to the Camel, well, sorry, not the Camel, so he's coming up towards Blanchimont now as he gets past that Red Bull. Quite a lot of lap traffic on this lap, so may not be the cleanest. However, he seems to be navigating quite easily.
Yes, indeed. He was 2/10 up, or close to 2/10 up in the split, coming into Sector 3. Let's see how much he can gain in this last bus-stop chicane. Braking quite early, trying to be conservative. Good exit is trying to be made. There was Neo Dio spun. Thankfully, ghosting is on, and Giorgio Ioannidis jumps up to P7, improving by 2.5 tenths.
Yeah, so jumps one position in that lap time, and I don't know if any of the lap traffic there was a distraction. Neo Dio spinning at the end definitely wouldn't have helped, as you see Neo Dio in the background spinning out of the way of, I believe that is, no, it was not Danny, that is Owen on his hot lap. I seem to have a bit of an issue with my camera angles. I cannot seem to go on board because it shows the rear wing instead. I try and go on board with them, and then it instantly cuts to the outside camera. So
is your wheel plugged in by any chance?
It definitely isn't. No.
That's interesting.
So I'm not quite sure what is happening there, but yeah, if you see, I go on board, it just points to the back of the car, and I click it again. We get a glimpse of what's happening with the driver, and then it cuts to an outside track view again. So I am sorry I'm not able to bring the camera angles today. It just seems to be some sort of technical difficulty. Don't really know what's happened. It's never seen this before, so do bear with us. Just looking at the chat, Dragon says it's time to watch the Dutchies fail to qualify for the 2022 World Cup. I guess Tier 2 is more entertaining than that, maybe, Dragon, if you want to stay here and watch. Icewind asking if Joel binned it. I'm not sure if he did. He might have. He's definitely not known for not binning it, to say the least, but yeah, he could also just have retired in the pit lane. He sees that he's not able to produce another lap. But anyways, Owen on a hot lap here. It's actually Grenad Goran goes in, I was about to say, speaking Danish, he goes even faster with a 142.6, and Owen coming across the bus stop chicane now has to come towards the line. Does get a pretty good exit here. Is he able to improve? He does improve, jumps up to P3, right ahead of Joel, so that is a P3 secured in the qualifyings for Owen, unless Ioannidis is able to jump up 5 tenths from his personal best, and he is not able to do that as he is on an invalid lap. So Owen at the end there just manages to pip out Joel to get that third place grid spot for the race.
See, I was really confused there because, of course, when my game crashed, I had to rejoin, and before the timer went to 0, it said it was still 5.5 minutes left for me. So I thought we still had plenty of time left in the session, but now it has jumped to normal. So we should hopefully be fine for the race.
We can thank Cody's for all the fun quirks and features we have here at Tier 2 at 2S today at Spa. But 16 drivers, a lot of them very eager to drive. Quite a close field as well. If Owen all the way down to Janoka are all within a second, but the two drivers, Joel and Sinahenki, right beside each other, 2 tenths behind them is Futuristic Ioannidis and Larifasol, all within a tenth of each other as well. So there's definitely a varied skill group here, but they're still close enough to be able to produce a pretty fun race as well to watch. Just catching up in the chat, Beagle says he's building a commentating reel for a job, so that's what he's going to do while listening to some 2S racing, and that is hopefully you get a great reel out and you get the job you're applying for. Biggles obviously is the main tier 2 commentator. He's not able to join us today, but we all know how brilliant he is at commentating, so I'm pretty sure whatever he's applying for he will be able to get with the commentator reel he is doing. And then I hope so. Nice to see we can provide entertainment for people as well today. And I think there's drivers on the track still going past. I'm not quite sure what's happening here actually.
This is interesting. It looks like we're waiting for George Ioannidis. He's still in, at least on my screen, it still says pit, and he hasn't finished yet.
It does. On my screen it says pit as well. I'm going to quickly take a screenshot of, well, actually I cannot take a screen. Can you take a screenshot of the standings real quick? Because this might be warranting a restart, as there's seems to be two cars still on track. They are AI driven, but I believe that is Owen and Grenad Goran on track still. Not quite sure what's happening here, but yeah, we'll have to just bear with us real quick. I'm going to have a look in tier 2 discussions. It looks like people are asking Ioannidis to retire, as he is just not in the pits. I'm going to quickly try and tell him as well to try and retire to see if it helps. Interesting. Right, well, Vito, are you able to see if, should we maybe call a restart in this one? I mean, qualifying has ended now. George is just, it's not retiring for some reason.
I could try and send him a Steam message as well.
Yeah, I believe we should try and do that, because hopefully the lobby isn't bugged. Your game did crash earlier, so that might be causing some sort of issue, but it has been fine otherwise, I'd say. But while this is happening, I'm going to quickly bring up the standings. I can't be able to bring it up on screen today because of issues with my OBS, so I'll just read them out to you instead. So, leading the championship, we have Alexander, who's not here today, but he's leading the championship by 37 points over Owen. Owen in P2 in the Red Bull, followed closely by Lavi Fasol, who's only 3 points behind him, so there's quite a tight battle between those two drivers today. Owen is in P3 and Lavi Fasol is in P8, so he has to do quite a lot to catch up to Owen in that case. In P4, we have the Red Bull driver of Danny, who is 24 points behind Lavi Fasol, so he might be able to close that gap today, but it is somewhat unlikely. It's mathematically possible, but unlikely. Behind him, we have the two Alfa Romeo drivers in P5 and 6, followed closely by Goran in P7, and then we have, I can't read that, we have Agafa Jr. in P8, Kyrta in P9, and Tranquilo in P10. A few of those drivers not here today, but the Alfa Romeo boys will definitely be trying to throw some curveballs into this Constructors' Championship, as Williams is leading that one with 144 points, followed closely by Red Bull with 135 points. Alfa Romeo is only about 28 points behind Red Bull with 97, and 5 points behind Alfa Romeo is Haas. So both these constructors actually today could pick up some points, and maybe, since it's not even halfway through the season yet, they could try and get closer to these two constructors, and we could have a brilliant battle to the end of, well, towards the end of the season. Aston Martin and McLaren behind them, both decently far behind. Aston Martin with 67 points and McLaren with 33. AlphaTauri and Ferrari have 30 points and 22.5 points respectively. Mercedes on 6 points, and Alpine have yet to score a point today. I'm having a look at the Alpine drivers. It is Joel and Tilde. I believe Tilde is a full-time driver. He is the only one who's able to score points out of these Alpines today. Well, actually, no. Is Joel in? No, Joel is in a Williams. Tilde is the only Alpine driver today on track.
First, I'm calling a restart, because this doesn't seem to work.
So we are calling a restart. It seems like we have to do a restart, and that is only fair enough. I will be quickly going to the interview screen while that happens, and yeah, I'll try and see if I can pull up the standings so you can have a graphical view at them as well while the interview screen, to see if I can make my OBS work for once. That would always be great. Let's have a look. Standings. Okay. Yeah, so do bear with us. A lot of things happen with F1. It's not the first time we've had to do a restart of any sorts, so that definitely looks like we're going to be restarting the lobby, and people are leaving now, so I'm going to quit the main menu quickly.
Making a new lobby.
Yeah. So you get to hear the, I would say, the pretty good music we have in the F1 game. I'd say that's one of the stronger points of this game, indeed. And just quickly bear with us while we try and sort things out. It's a shame we don't have Bagels here today, as he does always have some quite nice graphics to show while the stream is running and we have issues. Sorry, I don't have those today. I'm not always a stream. I'm not the main commentator for Tier 2, so I usually only have stuff set up for Tier 1, and it's a bit of a different story today. I also do broadcasting for RCI, mainly, but that is I'm not allowed to show any of that content here, as it is a different league, and I'm pretty sure they wouldn't like me to show the content. But anyways, that is more of an ACC league, and they race every day of the week. If you're interested in joining ACC for 2S, I think I've already done a shout out, but was it we're doing again, Vito? I think we were going to have a longer off season, but in between might have an interesting one-off race coming towards you that we've not done yet before.
Yes, we might. We might indeed. Now I'm just waiting on people to join. And there's a bit of chaos in Tier 2 General, but
there always is a bit of chaos in Tier 2 General. A lot of drivers trying to figure out what is happening, and just resetting the lobby and all that stuff. Let me just see. Have I gotten try and join the lobby myself again? Is it do I just click join game? I believe I do.
Yeah, you should.
Okay. I am in the lobby as it stands. Yep. So we'll just wait for the drivers to rejoin. There is the standings will also have to be set up manually, so it's going to take a little bit longer. That way we have to skip qualifying. Well, we've already had the full qualifying, but we had to skip qualifying on the session itself and go straight to the race. Do you remember if it was a full wet race, semi-wet, or if it was a dry race? I don't think anyone's told us yet.
I believe it was dry. I haven't seen anyone cry about it in Tier 2 chat, so I assume it was dry.
Alright, we will assume it is dry.
Let me just put clear light cloud.
Yeah. I'm just quickly going to get the standings out for everyone to see. There you go. Alright. Here we go. Just very quickly. Okay. Image. So, here are the standings for, as they currently stand for the drivers. And as you can see, Alexander is in P1, followed by Owen. I can show you the points, but then you won't be able to see the names because of the way the standings are set up. But here is a good visualization of where they stand in the standings. We're only at race 9 of I believe it's a 20 race season or something like that.
Can we, sorry to interrupt you, but could you go spectator real quick?
Could I go oh yeah, of course, sorry. As of course very important. Otherwise we'll be getting an onboard POV for the whole race, and I'm not cut out to drive that for sure. Is the lobby launching now? Like,
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
All that happens. So here's a view of, just to give you an idea of where the driver stands. Now I'm going to cut over to a view of the constructor standing. That's not completely centered. I'll just center that real quick for you guys. There you go. So Williams leads Red Bull by, I think that's 9.5 points. Yeah, 9.5 points. Then Alfa Romeo followed by 28 points. 5 points between Alfa Romeo and Haas. And then you can see a little bit further down Aston Martin. I can't really do the quick maths on that right now, but Aston Martin a decent bit ahead of McLaren. And AlphaTauri only 3 points behind McLaren. Ferrari Yeah, 7.5 points behind AlphaTauri, and then with Mercedes and Alpine there in the bottom. While that's happening, you get some nice little music. Beagles does have quite some good music to listen to, but sorry, don't have that today. Tipsy is asking Vito to tell us a story while we wait.
You want me to tell a story?
They want you to tell a story.
I first need to get the story with derogatory pineapple, or of why he isn't in the lobby, and then I can tell you a story.
There you go, so you're gonna have to wait a little bit for a story, but I'll tell you something though. This weekend, Vito and I are participating in a 23-hour race around Zolder in a Mustang for the... I'm gonna quickly try and...
Jimmy Broadband charity.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
Bear with us. My game is seems to have crashed.
Oh, God. Maybe I should tell a story.
Oh, it's uncrashed itself now.
Oh?
Okay. Anyways, so I was saying this weekend on Saturday, I don't remember exactly when it starts, but we're doing a 23-hour race for the Mines charity. This is the 23-hour race that Jimmy Broadbent hosts every single year around this sort of time during the year. Me, Vito, Sam, Chumley, as some of you guys might know, Pixel, and WoW will be teaming up to drive the 23-hour race for this charity. And we will be streaming our POVs here on 2S. So I believe Vito will be doing one of the parts, I'll be doing one of the other parts. And we're not quite sure if a third POV will be shown. But definitely both of us will be streaming our POVs at some point. So come show the support. It will be streaming all of it the whole weekend. And also the link to the charity will be in the description and the donation page and all that. It's hosted by Jimmy Broadbent, as I've said. So some of you guys might already know what we're on about. This year, I believe it is old LMP2 cars, Cadillacs and Mustangs are the three categories that you can race it. It is on iRacing. And we've decided to take the Mustang, as it is the slowest car on the grid, but it's also apparently the most fun one to drive. So I'm quite excited for that one indeed, and that it will be streamed here. We're gonna... I think soon we will see a scheduled stream for that pop up on this channel, so keep tuned for that. And yeah, thank you, Tipsy. Looking forward to it. We definitely are as well. So it's going to be an interesting one for sure. I will be working that evening, so hopefully I will be able to do the night stint. I believe the night stints will be me and Vito. So if you're waking up at 6 in the morning, you'll hear me and Vito being somewhat zombie-ish behind the PC screen, but it's going to be absolutely great. I'll read through some of the penalties they will be giving out. So if you do a slight incident, so a minor bonk as they call it, you will be forced to go into the pit lane and tell a dad joke and then leave the pit lane again. If you do a bit more of a major incident, you'll be forced to go into the pit lane and sing a song of choice sent by sent by the admin or the people who are running the league. And there's also one, if you do a Shadow Realm event, as they call it, you'll have to go into the pit lane and sing the entire anthem of your own nationality in the pit lane while that happens. If you want to do these penalties, you can. If you don't want to do these penalties, you just pay towards the charity and you will be exempt from the penalties. We will also be running our own fun penalties on stream. So I think we'll have a counter for every spin and that sort of stuff, and it'll be counting up, and we'll do a donation at the end of the race with the counters, and it's going to be a great race. It's going to be good fun, a lot of memes, a lot of entertainment, and generally just everything for a good cause. So feel free to join on the 2S stream on Saturday when that goes live. Speaking of going live, we're about to go live in the race.
Yes, we should. We should be starting in 10 seconds from what it says here. Now let's hope everything is good, that I didn't mess anything up. It should be fine.
Yeah, the drivers also have to pick the tires themselves. I didn't keep a track of who started on what tire, but it will be shown on stream, so hopefully all the drivers remembered what they were on. And I'm going to quickly stir up the tires. I need to quickly tab out real quick. Excuse me for this.
And everyone in the top 10 is on tires anyway. or is on soft. So
yes, everyone is on tires. Excuse me.
Everyone is on. In fact, everyone is on tires. No one is running on rims.
That is a ideal. Oh no.
Oh God Almighty.
Alright, so Julius and Neodio have been disqualified already. I hope that is due to contact on the formation lap. It's a quick formation lap by Goran. He's just sending it, trying to get heat in those tires. Has he realized it's not a race start? Yeah, of course he has. But here we go. We're ready to go green. Oh, Tipsy says, what if they're Spanish? It doesn't have any lyrics from memory. Well, if they're Spanish and they have to sing that national anthem in the race, I'm sure they'll just have to hum the tune of the national anthem throughout the whole race. A lot of our drivers, so each of the drivers in the team we're going to be running is from a different nationality, so we have been sending national anthems throughout the day and sort of joking about maybe we should sing each other's, but then we tried to pronounce the words correctly and it was terrible. So we're it was entertaining though, so I definitely think it's going to be a great race. They could sing Fernando by ABBA. I believe that is the second Spanish national anthem indeed. And oh, as Goran on his outlap goes a little bit wide. That's not what you want to do. It's not ideal for your tires, but I don't think it'll hurt him too much, as that gravel will be run off the tires by the time he reaches the start-finish straight to sit in his grid spot and be ready to drive.
And Great Goran is leading by quite a considerable amount. I think he's slowing down to let the rest catch up now.
Yeah, he's if he was going too fast, he would have to sit quite for some time on that pit box. His tires would get pretty cold, and it wouldn't be ideal for his start. But it looks like he has realized now that people are going just a little bit slower behind him than he was intending. As Derogatory Pineapple has left the session, I hope that is nothing to do with connections. Oh, actually, he's not in the race. He tried to get him in the race, but he wasn't able to join, or what was it? Anyways.
One, I didn't have him on my friends list, and two, I don't even think he's in the 2S Discord. So I'm pretty sure he might have joined through one of the SLR.
Derogatory Pineapple, we have seen race time in and time out. I believe he has a different username on Discord. I'm pretty sure he has a 2S Discord. But anyways, here we go. 5 red lights. Rita, you take us away.
5 lights. We're waiting, and away we go. Actually, without a delay this time. And it looks like the Great Goran got a very good start. Owen now taking a little bit of a dive down the inside, side by side with Kjorte. Kjorte has to go onto the curb. And I think that's Owen up to P2. There's a little bit of a carnage back behind. I think that's Julius who spun. But for the rest, it looks clean. Now up Eau Rouge we go. Into Radion at the top of the hill. And it looks like there's carnage. The other Mercedes is off. I believe that's Janoka who has crashed. Sector 1 yellow flag. We don't have the safety cars on that, and it's a VSC, virtual safety car, has been enabled. So everyone has to slow down, stay within the delta.
And that is...
So we had 2 crashes, and that was both the Mercedes.
Yeah, so Janoka was going side by side with the Williams of Joel into Eau Rouge. There was a bit of contact with him, and straight into the barriers goes Janoka. His car had no chance. It broke right there on the spot, and he's had to retire from the session. I'm surprised it's not an actual safety car, but I guess virtual safety car is a decent call anyways, as the driver's still trying to line up again. Looks like I thought they went green for a second because of the speed they're carrying, but I think they're just trying to catch up to the delta of each other. But it'll be interesting on the restart to see who has done the delta management better than others. It looks like Kjorte right behind Owen, and he might be able to jump him on that restart.
They are very close together. Kjorte is really up there, and Julia's got a drive-through for speeding under VSC. So not only has he spun at the start of the race, but he also got a drive-through. So a horrible start of the race for both the Mercedes. One retired, the other one spun and then got a drive-through. So not the start they were looking for.
Yeah, and here comes Kjorte and Owen, maybe trying to line up a move into the bus stop chicane. Doesn't seem to be quite close enough to do anything, and he has to back out of it a little bit. I'm going to jump on board to the battle happening here between Ioannidis and Merlijn Thunders, as Ioannidis seems to be getting ahead on those softer tires compared to the medium tires, and has managed to retake that position. I saw them tussling back and forth on the standings. Alpine as well of Tilde trying to get involved in the action, going around the outside of Merlijn. Looks like he gets a better exit actually, and he does get ahead by the time they go into Eau Rouge. So brilliant overtake there by Tilda around the outside in La Source. He's up to P10, and that is in the points. Let's have a look at Danny trying to get a run on Labi Fasol. He's only 3 tenths behind. It's not DRS train yet. What is this camera angle? This is not what I asked for. Anyways, here you go. Labi Fasol up ahead, you see, also trying to get a move on Futuristic, but yeah, just a bit too close.
Tilda going side by side with Leonidas, and they touched. Tilda had to evade, take the off track. Now he's going side by side with the AlphaTauri of Merlijn van der, both on the medium tire. Diving into the hairpin. Side by side, there's still a little bit of a touch from Tilda on the front wing. And now he got touched on the back by Neo Dio, so this is not what Tilda is looking for. And now side by side, Crystals and Neo Dio into Pouon. Oh, this is very sketchy from both of them. Neo Dio had to go off the track. Now they are still side by side. And Crystals turned in a little bit too hard, I believe, there, and bumped off Neo Dio.
Yeah, Neo Dio spins around. I'm not quite sure what happened there with the contact. The camera angle didn't really pick it up that well. So we're going to have to wait to see what the bird... Oh, as Neo Dio spins again, trying to get his car back on track. He does have warm tires. He needs to keep that in mind when he is spinning around. Anyways, let's jump back up to the leader. Goran nearly jumped a second ahead of the rest of the field. And Owen is still in that DRS range yet. DRS will be enabled on this lap. So Goran just has to make sure he gets out of that 1 second gap. And Owen just... There it is, and there he is. He's out of that 1 second gap, but crucially behind him, Kurtz is also out of that gap, or they're just about that gap. And the top 4 actually all within give or take a second of each other. So it'll be interesting to see who picks up DRS and who doesn't. Or actually, is DRS enabled in this lap? I'm not sure it was. It seems like it was actually.
It is.
Yeah.
DRS is enabled.
So we'll start
and
to see.
Sector 1 yellow flag. I believe that's Tilda who spun at the top of the hill at Radion.
That is indeed Tilda.
Has to turn around.
He picks up a time penalty as well for trying to turn his car around.
Damn it. That might be removed by the FIA.
Yeah, if it
at
doesn't.
Least he still has DRS.
Yeah, that is that is always something. So there was contact between him and Crystals. We didn't catch it on stream, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. But unfortunately, Tilda has to, I think, probably pit this lap as there might be a bit too much damage on that car to be competitive. But let's go back to Danny, who's behind this little train behind Joel. Well, not really that much of a train, but it's a little bit of a train. So it is a battle from P4 to P8 with the 2 Alfa Romeos there in P5 and P6 currently. I'm just reading the chat and it looks like Crystals didn't load a setup for the race, so that is a bit unfortunate for him. Maybe that's why he's been struggling a bit on pace, as a lot of people were saying he shouldn't be in tier 2 technically, as he is a really fast driver. But if he doesn't have a setup, that might hamper him a little bit more than it should. Let's have a look at what's happening here. Is anything going? Doesn't look like there's going to be anyone close enough to make a move. Neo Dio, however, oh sorry, that's the wrong driver, is trying to make a move up the inside of Julius. Looks like he managed to make a stick. Julius keeping it around the outside though, so Neo Dio has to back out of this one. That was a brilliant defensive move by Julius there, so he's going to have to do that all over again into the bus stop chicane. I would try and go on board, but for some reason my camera angle just does not work on the onboard, so I do apologize for that. Neo Dio chasing down Julius into the bus stop chicane, tries to go around the outside, breaks a little bit deep, but Julius also breaks a little early, so Neo Dio seems to get the move done, and it does get his way past Julius, so brilliant overtake there from Neo Dio. Julius has to succumb to the P13 driver, and has to give the position to him as he's not able to defend. While that's happening, X-Crystals makes his way past Merlijn Thunders down the Camel Straight, and it makes his way up to P10. While that happens, Ionitis picks up a 3 second time penalty, so I assume some of those cuts are happening while he's chasing down Julius. However, it is early days in the race, and he could also do some damage limitation for now by not going further off track anymore.
There's a spin, that's another Henky spinning in Pouon, hit the wall a little bit with the front wing, and there goes Danny as well, Danny hitting the wall as well on the exit of Pouon. So we have had 2 casualties in Pouon this season, and there was a little bit of a crazy rejoin there. But everyone seems to be fine. Oh, and then there's another touch. That's Crystals touching Danny on the back. Danny getting punted off track by Crystals. Let's see if that resulted in any damage for Crystals. It doesn't look like it from the spectator cam. But we can't see the wing if it's light green. And now Crystals going side by side with Snelle Henky into Blanchimont. And he's already passed before Blanchimont. And here comes Merlijn.
Oh no!
Well, side by side, and they touch, but Snelle keeps it on track.
Somehow Snelle Henke and Merlijn Thunders both survived that contact. I thought it was going to be a huge accident there happening as Snelle Henke does go into the pit lane now. Followed closely by Danny. Why is it... I jump... What? Oh, yeah. Okay, F1, it's not being very cooperative today. I don't know what's happening. But let's try and jump aboard with Owen as he is chasing down Grenade Goran with the DRS down the straight. This is the battle for P1. Down the camel straight, Owen going for the inside into the next corner. He makes the overtake before the corner even happens. A nice DRS overtake by Owen. He goes into P1. It's exactly what he needs to try and get closer to Alexander in this Drivers' Championship. And now it's just all about maintaining that gap. While that's happening, Kyoto is fighting Joel for that P3 spot. And into the wall goes Kyoto, a bit of contact with both drivers. He loses all of his front wing, and he is going to have to go back to the pit lane now, as that is going to be hefty damage for that AlphaTauri. Not the way he wanted that battle to go. And that is very unfortunate indeed, as Ioannidis makes his way through the damaged AlphaTauri and makes his way up to P6. Behind him he has his teammate of Merlijn Thunders and Crystals fighting it out, so he might be a bit of a roadblock into Puhan, but he gets out of the way for both of them. Maybe voluntary or not, I don't know, but oh! Merlijn spins it for... Well, I don't really know. For no reason, I guess? That was really bizarre.
I think he might have kissed the curb there, from what I saw.
Yeah, that was really bizarre. He just, out of nowhere, the car just goes around, and that is both the AlphaTauris going to have to go into the pit box this lap with damage. So that's very unfortunate indeed for these drivers.
This is indeed, and I think there is a freeway battle going on for... That's P11. That's Snelle Henke, who chose to go to the hards. So he is on the hard tire after making an early stop on lap 5. Of course, the strategy on this track is a pretty easy soft medium, as the mediums seem to last for eternities. So it's an interesting choice to go for a hard tire from Snelle Henke in the Alfa Romeo.
Danny has also opted to go for the hard tire as well, so maybe they think it's a bit too early to go for the mediums, with Snelle Henke chasing down Neo Dio with Danny right behind. Is he going to make a move into the bus stop chicane? Looks like he does. Does he manage to outbrake himself? No, he doesn't. Neo Dio is the last or late breakers and stays ahead for now, but with the DRS, is Snelle Henke able to do something into La Source? Doesn't look like he's able to get close enough, but all he needs to do is just maintain his position. It's not the smartest thing to overtake into La Source, because the drivers can often retaliate and get you down the camel straight with the DRS on the next run, as we see Merlijn Thunders now joining this battle as well on those hard tires. So this has just become a four-way battle that has helped Neo Dio out a little bit, as he will get DRS from Merlijn, but it seems like he actually hasn't gone DRS, so Snelle Henke with the DRS on Neo Dio, trying to go around the outside after the camel straight, makes the move somewhat stick, but he goes a bit deep actually. Neo Dio trying to fight back around the outside, almost contact between the drivers. Danny is trying to pick up the scraps of this battle, and he just has to slot in behind Snelle Henke for now. Great fighting between these drivers, leaving the space they need to leave, and no one has contact. Oh, it's Danny actually in the background there, goes off track a little bit, drifting around No Name there. Beautiful show for us, but not ideal for his race pace. Anyways, he manages to stay behind Snelle Henke. While this was happening, Grenade Goran has managed to overtake Owen yet again for that P1 position.
Yes, they have. While you were busy commentating that crazy fight at the back, I've been looking at the fight here up front, and they are really close together on pace. As you can see now, we're going up Eau Rouge and into Radion and onto the Camel Straight, and this will be another close move, I think. Owen is just gonna fly by. The overtake button has been enabled for just a second, going on into the inside, and he is past Grenade Goran.
Yep, so these two drivers swapping positions quite a lot here, keeping it an interesting fight. I'm gonna jump back to this battle between the three drivers down here. Danny trying to make this move up the inside of Snelle Henke, not quite able to get the traction he needs, but he does get a great run into La Source. Decides to back out of it for now, as he wants to stay behind for that DRS zone down the Camel Straight. Almost going side by side with Snelle Henke into Eau Rouge, but he does back out a little bit out of it and slots in behind yet again. Will Snelle Henke be able to take Neo Dio this time around? All the drivers zooming past Eau Rouge, and it should be an easy overtake for both the drivers now, as they both have DRS open. Neo Dio is just a sitting duck at the moment. Danny might be able to get 2 in 1 here if he breaks later than Snelle Henke. Doesn't look like he has, and Stenehicki stays ahead for now, so both drivers got past Neodio, and they are now beginning their charge to get back up the field.
Yes, they are, and then again going back to the leaders, as those are pretty much the two closest battles going on. Great Goran trying to look for a move on Owen again, who is currently in the lead. Both drivers technically could work together, pull themselves ahead of Joel, and Goran got a little bit of oversteer there on the exit, a bit of wheel spin, cost him a little bit of time. Hoping for a good turn 1 accident for him now, Ascure to get a 3-second time penalty. And I think that's Lavi Fasole in the pits. He is boxing on lap 8. And let's see what tires he'll go on. It looks like the mediums are ready for him. So the first driver to box for the mediums on lap 8. So he will have 14 laps on those mediums to do.
Yeah, and while that's happening, Goran with the DRS gets his way past Owen yet again. So the positions for lead changing ever so slightly. There's a little bit of contact between the two drivers on the exit there. Now they're going into no name now. It's Grenade Goran stays ahead for now. But it seems every single lap, one of the drivers gets DRS and flies past the other driver. Who is going to go into the pit lane first? Who is going to call the undercut? I think that is the strategy they need to think about now, to get far enough ahead to stay out of that DRS range, because these two drivers have basically equal pace today.
Yes, their pace is indeed very equal, and if it will stay this close for the entirety of the race, then they will definitely start pulling away a little bit, although Joel is gaining on them. So Joel gained, I believe, a second in this lap on the two battling cars. So the clean air that Joel has shows as well that his tires are still very alive, and that he's still able to push in them to catch up to the leaders.
Yeah, go into bus stop now. Owen trying to send one up the inside. That move was now really on, sort of forcing his way through. Oh, he goes straight into the pit lane. So Owen trying the undercut now in the pit lane. And what is this F1?
And Joel is following him in. So Joel also going into the pit lane. Crystal's already started on the mediums, and Georgia Anides is also going into the in the pit stall. So a lot of pit stops starting to flow in now. Yeah, and I am very interested on seeing where Lavi Fasole will come out. Of course, he did the 1-lap undercut. He boxed 1 lap earlier than everyone else. And here is Joel pulling out of the pits. And I think he maybe lost a little bit of time on Owen there in the pit lane.
Yeah, Ioannidis also having been fighting with his teammate. And the McLaren has lost that as well, so Larry Fasol is now promoted to P6 on track, and Owen starting his undercut now. Goran will have to go into the pits very soon, because Owen will come out ahead with 2-3 seconds. Undercut is very strong around this track. And I do apologize if I seem frustrated sometimes when people go into the pit lane. For some reason, when I click to another driver, it just sticks to the driver in the pit lane, so I have to click it 3-4 times before it works. Not quite sure why that happens, but yeah, anyways. Spa is doing weird things today with the camera angles, and don't really know why, but we'll deal with it and move on. So I'm just trying to look. Owen is closing down on Goran quite a lot. He's trying to move the intervals to the leader, and he's only 17 seconds behind Goran, and that is definitely enough to cover. Well, that is definitely not enough for Goran to be able to make a pit stop and come out ahead. So Owen will most likely come out ahead after Goran pits.
Yes, he will indeed, and let's see if he goes in. Yes, he does. He is going into the pit lane right now. So let's see how close Owen will be when Goran is coming out of the pits. Will the undercut be more powerful, or does Goran have enough pace on the softs to stay ahead of his rival this race?
Yeah, Owen coming through the bus stop chicane now on the start-finish straight. You see Goran has left his pit box, but I don't think it's enough. As Owen now overtakes him when he's in the pit lane. It's going to be close on the exit, that's for sure. Can Owen get a better exit? Yes, he does. So he does get ahead of Goran. Goran needs to get up to speed and hopefully not lose too much time on him. He has to stay within that DRS range to be able to sort of catch up again, as he has a great job on his hands now. But Owen is only on 1 lap older tires, so it's not going to mean a huge difference come the end of the race. But he does have that DRS, and he is gaining on Owen now. And this battle is going to continue, and that is great to see.
That was very close for that DRS there. it was literally almost less than a tenth, and Goran wouldn't have had the DRS. So also looking at Crystals at the moment is, it seems like his plan to start on the mediums didn't work out that well, as the leaders are basically behind him already.
Yep. Crystal's also having a bit of issue trying to get through the field as well early on in the race, so that might have stopped his charge a little bit, but he also has a few seconds of time penalties to worry about as well, so we'll have to see what he's able to do at the end of the race. We do know he's a very fast driver indeed, so he is going to be hoping to just find some clear air with the soft tires and hopefully do some good overtakes come the end of the race to increase his positioning. But I'm just noticing this Owen and Goran have suddenly, out of nowhere, jumped a 6-second gap to Joel. He was only about 4 seconds when Owen pitted and is now dropped down to 6 seconds, so these two drivers are absolutely flying on these medium tires at the moment.
It could very well have been that Joel got held in the pits, because there was a lot of traffic when Joel was in the pit lane. So that could have been very well what happened there. That's one of the options, or he had a very slow outlap. That's also a possibility, that he maybe got a little bit of that cold tire traction out of one of the corners and had a bit of a step out on the rear. That could also be very, very possible.
Indeed it is, and speaking of something else that's very possible is Goran putting his charge on Owen now with the DRS. We've seen this one happen before between these two drivers. Owen dives to the inside to try and protect his positioning, and it does spin on the curb there in the background. I don't know if there was contact between Owen and Goran, but Owen, defending the inside, gets on the curb and the car spins around. I don't think there was contact, but that's allowed Joel to get right up behind Owen. Owen now has a huge job to try and catch back up to the leader, but Goran has nearly a 6-second gap down to Owen now to worry about. So he has succeeded his overtake. I'm not sure if there was contact though. It looked like to me that Owen just spun on the curb on the inside, and that is huge for the championship, as Owen needs the 25 points he can get today to catch up to Alexander as quickly as possible.
Yes, indeed he does. This situation is exactly what Owen didn't need. All he had to do is really stay within that slipstream of Grenade Goran. Maybe the smarter decision there would have been to just let Goran go, because he knows he has the pace to just sit behind him and enjoy some of that free DRS and save up some battery.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think that curb is just a little bit too much of a risk to take in this game.
Yeah,
at least for us non-esport guys.
Yeah, for sure it is, and it looks like Goran now trying to stay behind Crystals into La Source and get a better run down Eau Rouge, or down the Camel Straight after Eau Rouge. He has now built up those 6 seconds now. He will most likely, if he doesn't step a foot wrong now, he will probably take this win already. But let's not throw in any commentators' curses too early on in the race. We're almost halfway through. Well, we're just over halfway through actually, as we see Goran with the DRS open, making his way past Crystals. Crystals, I don't think will fight this one too hard. He'll probably just let him by. They are in alternate strategies, and there he goes. And while that happens, Owen gets overtaken by Joel. So Joel has the DRS on Owen, and that drops Owen down another position. Owen now knows that he's able to stay with Joel, and he will be able to get DRS to re-overtake. Joel, of course, does have those 3-second time penalties, so at the end of the race that will be taken into account. But it is hampering Owen in his charge to get back up to that P1 spot. So he will be, I'm pretty sure, quite frustrated in that cockpit as Joel gets a huge slap of oversteer on the exit there of No Name in Puhan. Who's that as well? Is that Crystals that spun around? Crystals has gone around in Puhan. So people spinning off left, right and center here, and Owen gets his way back up to P2 while that happens. Wow, a lot of action happening on track at the moment.
There is indeed a lot of action happening, as we see actually quite the people from P1 all the way to P2 are quite close together in the field. So the gaps have gone down by quite a bit, and Georgia Ioannidis just got a 3-second time penalty for track extending. That's very marginal, but we all know that this game is very harsh on the track limits. So the track limits might also affect the ending result. Because of course Crystals and Joel both have a 3-second time penalty. And they are both fighting essentially for a podium position. Joel could be fighting for P2. And if Owen doesn't get a penalty, that might lose him that position again. if he doesn't pull those 3 seconds, of course.
Indeed he will. And Owen trying to get that gap to go and be a bit shorter, but it looks like it's staying around the 6.5 second mark at the moment. So he's going to hope for a safety car at some point, maybe to close the gap together again, but as it stands, the drivers are quite far apart from each other on track. The only battle happening at the moment is between Crystals and Futuristic, as Futuristic actually makes his way past Crystals. Crystals now struggling, might have a bit of damage on that McLaren, but he wants to make it to the end of the medium tire stint so he can get some soft tires on to begin his charge, as he locks up going into No Name there. And he is definitely struggling now in that McLaren there. It's not the greatest day in the office for him. Keep in mind he also forgot to load a setup at the start of the race, so he will be a little bit on the wrong end of the stick here, but he's been having a decent race up until he had that crash at Wuhan.
Yes, indeed, he did. He did have a good race. Of course, I forgot that he didn't have a setup on, so still a very good performance by him. But I think his tires are absolutely shot now. This is about where you would expect him to pit, as of course the tire wear without a setup will be more than one with a setup that's made for the race, made to focus on saving a little bit of the tire wear and still keeping the pace. And his tires look like they are starting to grain just a little bit, which indicates that they are getting worn. So I would not be surprised if he pulls into the pit lane, and yes, he does. So Crystals will be making his first and only pit stop, going into the pit lane, and should go into the soft. Will we have a wing change for him? It doesn't look like it.
No, he doesn't. He decides to opt out of a wheel change, so maybe the spin in Wuhan didn't cause any damage to his car. But he is going to be on the soft tires now, so expect a fastest lap time coming in soon from Crystals. But as Danny picks up a 3-second time penalty. But yeah, Crystals now has quite some margin to catch up, but he comes out right behind Merlin Thunders. So in that DRS range there of Merlin, why is it say I'm on Ionitis when I'm on Crystals? That is very bizarre. So go down to Crystals. In Sector 2 there's a crash and Joel has retired from the session. We'll have to see what happened there. I'm going to jump on with Ionitis.
And we have a safety car.
Yeah, and there's the safety car. So this pit stop might have worked absolute wonders for Crystals. But that is exactly what Owen would have been happy. So Joel, I think, will probably have binned it on his own or something, as he wasn't close to any of the drivers on track. Bins it right after the Camel Straight. I need to... What are those corners called again? Do you remember, Vito?
Which ones?
The right and left-hander, and then right-hander after the Camel Straight.
Lacan?
Yes, of course, Lacombe. So he binned it right after Lacombe there. So safety car is deployed. It'd be interesting to see if any of the drivers decide to go for soft tires. I do believe that Goran and Owen could both try and go for it, as they seem to have a good enough gap to be able to make that pit stop and come out ahead of the other drivers anyways, if they decide to do it.
Goran is pulling into the pits. Let's see if Owen will follow. I think it would be only smart to go for the softs now, because the mediums won't gain you much, as Owen is also pulling into pit lane. Will Futuristic follow? It looks like he will. So it looks like pretty much everyone is pouring into the pit lane now.
Yeah, Laufasol also going in for the soft tires.
Yeah. So this will be actually very profitable for those who chose to go on the hards early in the race, as they can switch to a tire compound where they can really push. And am I seeing that correctly? I think, yes it is, George Ioannidis went for a medium set instead of a soft set. So he's going for a fresh set of mediums instead of softs. So he will be one of the only cars who is on the medium tire compound.
Interesting tire choice there from Ioannidis. I'm not quite sure what he was thinking to do with the mediums, but maybe he was thinking that he'll be in dirtier and the graining will be too much by the end of the race on the soft tires, and that's when the mediums unlock themselves. So interesting choice to say the least. We'll have to see how it works out for him. But basically everyone else has gone into the pit. Snelle Henke has decided to stay out, and on those Nylab old hard tires, he's decided to opt for track position rather than getting a new fresh set of soft tires on. That might come to hurt him a bit come the end of the race.
So this is definitely an interesting strat, I would say, from Snelle Henke not pitting, trusting those hards. That will definitely not be quick. I can promise you that. But maybe he doesn't feel like he needs the softs. Maybe he feels like there is enough pace for him on those hards.
Indeed, I think he might have just opted to go for track position. I don't remember where he was on track compared to the others after the pit stop. So I only think he was about 2-3 positions behind where he is now. So I think it's one of those moments where he has nothing to lose. So he's going to try the opposite strategy and just see if it works out. And maybe if it does, it'll be a brilliant drive. If it doesn't, well, he won't gain anything from it anyways, because he was outside of the top 10. So I believe it's one of those situations where he's just decided, alright, I'm going to try the different strategy and see if it works. It has worked before, we've seen some other drivers do it, so it might be interesting to see where he ends up finishing the race. Also, keep in mind, Crystals and Ionidas in front of him, as well as every single driver behind him, has a few time penalties to deal with, and he doesn't. So maybe that's another thing he was thinking of, get that track position, and hopefully he'll stay within this 3 to 6 seconds of the other drivers that have time penalties as well. So it looks like we're going to have another lap behind the safety car where they're trying to clear out Jules Williams.
So Snelle Henke is pulling into the pit lane.
Oh.
So that's interesting. I wonder why he didn't pull in when his teammate was already basically out of the pit lane. That's this will lose him much more time than double stacking with his teammate would.
Is double stacking glitch still a thing in this game?
Not that I know of. Double stacking, at least there wouldn't really be any problem, as Futuristic was basically out of the pit lane when Henke would pull in.
Yeah,
so he lost a lot of time here.
He loses out 4 positions due to that. However, he does manage to stay ahead of Neo Dio. He is on that medium tires as well, so both Ionidas and Neo Dio have decided to go for the medium tires, while every single other driver has gone for the soft tires.
And I think when Julius will be caught up, I believe safety car should go in this lap.
Indeed, I think it will be as well. Just a matter of time before Julius catches up here. I think he'll be there by the end of the lap. So a little desync there. Hopefully that's nothing more than a driver's side compared to a server side. But it's been alright so far in the race, so we'll have to wait and see.
Let's pray there will be no desync anymore. There is 6 laps left. Well, technically 7, so there will be 6 racing laps left for the drivers if the safety car goes in this lap. Which I assume so. And I wonder why Julius is going so slow. Because he shouldn't have a delta. Maybe he's trying to preserve his tires, although he shouldn't need to. Since these tires last easily up to 8 laps. So he shouldn't really have to worry about tire wear here. But he is basically caught up. The safety car line is right here. So here we should get the prompt of safety car going in. And are we continuing?
There
nope, here it is. Safety car in this lap. So from now on, Grenade Goran can decide the pace up until the safety car is in the pit lane. Then he can choose to go. I would think that his plan is to start when Owen would least expect it.
Yeah, I think...
So he might pull a Valtteri Bottas Mugello 2020 and start right on the line.
Yeah, that is indeed what he will try to be aiming for, although it's not the longest run into turn 1 on this track, so he could also just send it out of the bus stop chicane. Looks like he takes quite a wide line, so it looks like he will be sending it as late as possible. There he goes, and right behind him it looks like Lifasol and United sort of battling a little bit between each other. They can't overtake before the green light or the start finish line, so they have lost back into position. While that's happening, Futuristic putting on the charge around on Owen. Looks like he's trying to go around the outside. Does slot in behind after that and manages to stay behind, but of course no DRS on this straight, because it's about 3 seconds until the safety car, sorry, 3 seconds, 3 laps after the safety car that the DRS is enabled. George Ioannidis trying to make a move, and Lifasol pushes him into the wall on the straight, and Lifasol crashes out of the race. I'm not sure if there was moving on the brake and what happened there, but there's definitely huge contact between Ioannidis And Liverpool loses out, so that is going to be huge for the championship, as he was only 3 points behind Owen. It was his chance to make up some points, and Owen's going to jump ahead now if he stays in this position. Ioannidis is now trying to defend from the 3 cars behind him. Merlion, Danny and Kjurt are all very close to him. I'm going to try and put back the intervals here so we can see what is happening. Merlion Thunder spins on the curve as he did early on in the race, and luckily he ghosted as both Danny and Kjurt drive straight through him. And that is
Julius spun as well.
Julius
in Mercedes had a second spin of the race.
That's very unfortunate for these drivers. Let's go back to Kjurt to see what he is going to do on Danny. He's only 2 seconds behind him. Is the slipstream powerful enough down the straight? Will he be able to do something into the bus stop? Looks like he is trying to line up a move of some sort. And I think we could very well see if he deploys his battery. Only 2 tenths between them, and it looks like he might try a little move up in the bus stop. Doesn't look like he's close enough to do anything. So he has to back out of it for now. Goran sets a fastest lap of the race at 1:44.6. Owen is within that DRS range though, and that is crucial for Owen to try and regain that P1 position.
So Owen, this actually worked out very well for Owen. After that spin, he still is close enough to overtake Goran for the win.
Indeed,
so he is still able to win this race and get those 25 points that he really does need for the championship. But what he has to do is he has to overtake Goran without Goran being able to overtake him.
Yeah, and it seems like every single time Owen overtakes, Goran overtakes on the lap afterwards. So Owen might be thinking of going for a last lap lunge on Goran, so he's not able to overtake. It looks like Neon Dice has decided to retire on no, it looks like he's disconnected from the session. So I thought he might have retired in pit lane, but his car's on track and instead left the session, didn't disconnect, so didn't retire. So I think he's just disconnected a little bit there. Hopefully that's nothing to do with the server, but more of a driver's side, so we don't see any issues with the other drivers. Kjurt in the meantime gets a great run through Puhan, trying to line up and move up the inside of Danny into the next corner. And sort of bit of a contact between both drivers. Danny on the outside there, pushes a little bit wide. Great fighting between these two. A little bit of rub in this racing. You love to see it, and Danny does manage to stay ahead and defend his position. While that's happening, Crystal's very close to Futuristic here. Of course, Crystals has those time penalties to think about, so he has to gain quite some margin on Futuristic and able to get a podium position if he gets his way past. But he's getting closer and closer and closer here. Is he going to send one into the bus stop? No, he's not. He's going to stay behind just for now. Try and stay within DRS range and get that down the start. Get that down the camel straight. Owen, crucially, on the other hand, has dropped out of the DRS range of Goran, so he will not be able to follow through. What's happening there is this yellow flag in sector 2. It looks like Talde.
I believe that was Tilde that spun.
Yep. So he's having a very unfortunate race here, as well as Crystals now has a great run on Futuristic. Will he get that DRS that he needs to overtake? Actually, is DRS enabled? I believe it is on this lap, and yes, it is indeed. Crystals with the DRS makes his way past Futuristic, breezing his way down the camel straight. Futuristic has nothing to do. Well, can't do anything down the straight. He's just sitting duck at this moment. As Kjurt as well, while that's happening, makes his way past Danny. So 2 overtakes down the camel straight there, while we were looking at the race between Crystals and Futuristics. Keep in mind, Danny and Kjurt both have time penalties. I'm not sure which one is more, as my interval has now glitched out. So I'll have to look at the track map to see who is where and on track. That's a bit unfortunate. I do apologize for that.
So the penalties are as following. Crystals has 3 seconds. Jordan Ioannidis has 6 seconds. Kjurt and Danny both have 3 seconds. So does Julius. Neon Dice has 9 seconds and Tilde has 6 seconds.
So it looks like if Merlion can get within 3 seconds of Danny and Tilde, he could possibly jump 2 positions, but I think
right when he spins, Merlion spins!
Well, oh, that is unfortunate. So he is not going to be able to get within those 3 seconds, so pushing maybe a bit too hard to try and get closer. There's quite a lot of spins from Merlion today. We don't really see this from the Dutch driver. He's quite consistent usually. So it's been a tough day at the office for him, that's for sure. But if Kjurt and Danny can stay within 3 seconds of Ioannidis, they will both be able to jump up a position on him. And it looks like my delta is coming back slowly but surely. And yes, they are within 3. Ooh, actually, Danny is just out of the 3 seconds actually here. But Kjurt definitely is within 3 seconds.
And let's have a look who is closer. I think that Futuristic being half a second of Crystals. I don't think that's close enough. He isn't using the overtake button. He is trying to get this on pure slipstream. Trying to get as close as possible. Doesn't go for the move here. Just tries to keep close to Crystals. Possibly try and line up a last lap move, which Crystals will have a little bit of trouble responding to. As Georgianitis goes off track, and here comes Kjorta down the inside of him. And they're going side by side in the hairpin. And Kjorta made the move stick. Kjorta is past. Punishes Georgianitis for the mistake he made on the exit of the comp, going off track. And Kjorta is up into P5.
Yeah, brilliant little overtake there by Kjorta. He seems to be flying on those soft tires at the moment. And they're having quite a decent last half of the race for him. And Ioannidis just gets punished for a mistake. And Danny will now be the one trying to get close to Ioannidis. And he will be as he spins on the exit of Pujon. Well, actually not Pujon, on the exit of the chicanes after Pujon. And he just sits there. I think he's screaming to himself. He'll be so frustrated in that cockpit. He just threw away a very good result there. And he reverses back onto track and leaves the session in the middle of the track. I'm not sure what the rules are about that, actually. But Futuristic, on the other hand, gets his way past X-Crystals into the bus stop chicane and regains that P3 position and manages to get DRS to stay ahead as well. Now the question is, will Crystals get DRS and stay close enough to try and re-overtake him? Has Futuristic done this too early? But then again, Crystals does have 3 seconds to deal with, and Futuristic does know about that.
So I'm just trying to get Ioannidis back in the lobby, but it looks like he has gone offline on Steam. As AI is putting into the pit lane.
That's a bit unfortunate.
So I don't know if it was internet that shut off at a really unfortunate point, or if it was a straight Alt F4 to turning SPC off.
To me, it looked more like an Alt F4, as he did spin and he just stopped driving. He didn't bother trying to make his way back on track. He spun his way back on track, pointed the wrong direction, and then it just looked like his car stopped. So we'll have to wait and see as Crystals picks up another time penalty. So Futuristic definitely has this podium position in the bag as long as he doesn't spin. We've seen quite a lot of spinners today, so it's not over till it's over, that's for sure. But it looks like actually Snellehenke and Neo Dio are having a little bit of a battle, but Snellehenke makes his way up past Neo Dio. Now has Julius 6 seconds ahead of him, so I still don't know why he pits it a lap later, but maybe it was to try and avoid any sort of pit stop glitches that could potentially occur in the pit stops that we've seen from the last game, but I don't believe it's a thing in this game, so still not too sure. But Futuristic getting closer and closer to Crystals yet again. He doesn't need to make the overtake on track, but it is that much more satisfying if you do. Goran.
On a Neo Dio who spun in Puon. It is.
It is indeed.
So Neo is spinning again in Puon. The number 16 Ferrari, nice. Spinning in one of the fastest corners on the track.
We've seen quite a lot of people spinning there.
Let's be honest here. Blanchiment and Eau Rouge and Raidillon don't really count as corners anymore. As they are pretty much flat in these cars, or not pretty much, they are flat in these cars. And there's a sector 3 yellow flag. I think that's Merlijn Vanders who has spun.
Oh, with Julius in the background as well.
Julius has spun as well. So we have 2 spinners in one corner.
Was that contact?
I think Merlijn had no damage. No, it wasn't. I don't think it was.
They're just
both of them spinning on their own.
Maybe Julius got caught up by Merlijn spinning and spun himself. That sometimes happens. The Futuristic does stay ahead of X-Crystals, but he does have those penalties to worry about. And Kjorta could actually potentially pick up a P4 position here if he gets close enough to Crystals, but he just seems to be outside of that range. And he needs to be, while that's happening, Goran has been having an absolutely stellar drive. Owen's been dropping back ever so slightly. Owen's dropping back quite a lot, actually. He made a mistake somewhere in those last few corners, but he manages to keep his car pointing in the right direction, so he will be able to get a solid P2 position. But Goran is going to be the winner of this race here at Spa today in Tier 2 for 2S. So he just has to navigate the last 2 corners of bus stop chicane, and then he comes across the line, and he will be the winner of Tier 2 today in 2S around Spa. And he's had an absolutely brilliant drive from start to finish. Great balance between him and Owen, and he comes out ahead of Owen. Owen just 3 seconds behind, crosses the line in P2. Futuristic does manage to overtake Crystals on the track, so he'll be happy with that. crosses the line in P3. Crystals in P4 might drop down to P5 depending. Oh, look how it's so close between Kyoto and Crystals. Only 2/100ths between them. Kyoto misses out on the 4th place position there. That is very unfortunate. Danny coming across the line in P6 now. And Merlion is quite some margin behind, so I do believe Danny is safe with his time penalties. We'll have to see when Merlion crosses the line. Let's have a look here, and I think it is a P7 for Merlion. Snelle Henke behind him doesn't have any time penalties, so he might jump up a position here. We'll have to see. Oh wait, never mind, Merlion didn't either. So Snelle Henke comes across the line P8, with Julius and Neo Dio being the last drivers to cross the line. Is this the first points for Mercedes? I believe it is. So Julius manages to score points for Mercedes, and that's the first points scored for the Mercedes team this season, so I'm pretty sure he'll be happy with that drive as well.
Yes, indeed. So, again, a very interesting race. A lot of close racing, a lot of unfortunate touches as well, as Crystals gets driver of the day, which seems fair to me, as he has started all the way at the back. And still got, what is it? I think he got P4 from this, if I'm correct.
He did indeed. It was very close to being a P5, but with those time penalties, but he did all he needed to stay ahead, and he had a brilliant race indeed. But Goran and Owen and Futuristic on these podiums as well. So brilliant drive from every single one of these drivers here. Futuristic sort of came to it at the end. He wasn't really contending for podium until the very end after the safety car, and he had a brilliant drive from then on. So here you see two Swedish drivers sandwiching Owen there in the middle, followed by Crystals, Kyoto, Danny, Merlion, Snelle Henke, Julius, Neo Dio rounding off the top 10, and then Talde, Unitas, Laifasal, Joel, and one more driver that we've lost. I can't scroll down for some reason as well, outside the top 10. So I'm going to advance and quickly have a look at the race director. So for anyone who needs to see any incidents that they need to report, I'm going to go quickly scroll through it now. It'll be on stream, so when you do your reports, here are the incidents, and that was a pretty good race, I would say.
It was indeed. It was a very good race. It was very, very close. I enjoyed it a lot. It was definitely one of those races that have had pretty much action throughout the whole race. There wasn't really a moment where absolutely nothing was going on. There was always a battle, so it was very fun to watch and commentate.
Indeed it was, and I see Owen and Danny in general chat 3 already. Owen is streaming some sort of POV somewhere, so I believe that's usually the race rundown that these two drivers always do after the race. I'm not sure if they will be joining in the interview booth. Don't see anything about it in chat. I can quickly ask. Oh, I have all caps on. That might be a bit aggressive. And we'll have to wait and see if anyone does indeed want an interview. But yeah, I think that was a great rundown. And I believe we already said, Owen's. Okay, so Owen does indeed want an interview, so let's pull him into the chat, shall we?
Yes.
Hello, Owen.
Yo!
So, P2 at the end of the race there. Great battle between you and Goran throughout. And a very solid points finishing position that's going to bring you closer to your title rival, Alexander. And crucially as well, Larry Vassal did not score any points today, so you are somewhat clear of him as well. How do you feel?
I mean, I'll take P2. I think I could have won. Obviously, I have to see I don't know if you guys saw it on stream when me and Goran came together. I'm going to report it and see what happens. I don't think I was left any space, but I mean, it was a good race. Goran's he's quick. Yeah, it was good battling him for the first few laps until the safety car came in. Gave us another shot, but he was just too quick on the soft. So yeah, I guess P2 for now. I'll take it.
Yeah, very solid position indeed. I believe we saw some sort of contact, but we actually thought you spun on the curb. We didn't see the contact part of it. So that'll be interesting to see what the FIA has to say to that one. I want to see the POV as well at some point to see what exactly happens. And if he does get a time penalty, then you will be promoted to P1. But we'll have to wait to see what the FIA decides on that one. But overall, I think you can be very happy with that result. Your teammate Danny as well in P6. So overall, great points haul for Red Bull, when Williams didn't really get any points today.
You have to. Well, there's still a lot of races to go. I didn't realize how long the season actually was. But I guess being close to Williams and Alpha make it fun towards the end, hopefully, and Haas. I mean, they're really close as well. So good to see me and Danny getting some points, and I think that's probably our best team finish so far.
Yeah, and I think it's only going upwards from here on out, isn't it? So
Hopefully,
was Danny willing to do an interview as well, or do you think?
just drag him in. Why
All
not?
right, I'll pull him in as well. So hello, Danny. P6 finish at the end there. Your teammate Owen here as well with the P2. How do you feel?
Decent enough results considering my previous performances. Yeah. I mean, have we taken the championship lead in constructors now? I think, which is
You might have actually. I'm not sure. I think you were only 10 points behind Williams, and they definitely didn't score any points today. So you definitely, yeah, you have taken the constructors lead.
that's a start. Well, happy enough with that.
All right.
I
Well,
thought I was going to like finish bottom, like around like between 8th and 10th, but 6th. I'm happy enough with that.
yeah, it seems like you struggled a bit with some battles as well, and I believe there was a bit of contact at some point, but you managed to climb your way back up with that safety car. It's sort of a bit of a saving grace for both of you, to be honest, to try and help get some more positions. And at the end, you managed to make the most of the situation. So well done to that.
Thank you from Danny. There you go. You got some
I said,
cheers, bro. Just give me a compliment, bro. You didn't say anything.
wait. Well, I said thank you, but my mic didn't pick it up. So
I smell excuses.
Yeah, that's what I smell. Stinky.
I literally said thank you, but
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Well, thank you for
Thank
joining
you very
the
much.
interview, and hope to see you guys do great next time around. So see you guys.
See ya.
Goodbye.
As they have both left the commentary booth now. I believe we have to wrap up the stream anymore. So I see that Crystals wants an interview, but unfortunately, me and Vita both don't have time, as we both need to practice with the team now for that 23-hour race we have on Saturday. Be sure to tune in on Saturday, where we are streaming this 23-hour endurance race. It is for Jimmy Broadbent's Mind charity race. So if you're interested in that, feel free to come by and say hi and just have a good laugh with the rest of the guys here at 2S. Other than that, we are not running ACC on Monday as the season is over. So potentially we will be streaming again tomorrow on Wednesday, depending on how many signups we have for Assetto Corsa. And if not, you'll see us on Saturday and also Sunday for the Tier 1 race. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.
Adios.